Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. I'm Joe Slick, your host, and this is the morning report, and where we're going to talk a little bit about some solar stuff, some terrestrial stuff, and maybe some other stuff. But we're going to talk some stuff. But anyhow, uh, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Yeah. Good morning to Timmy. Good morning, Walleye King. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Ramblin' Rick. And good morning to you, Eden. And Canuck, who we've been texting back and forth all morning. Good morning, Lake Girl 19. Good morning, Dub Diesel in the AZ. And Denise in the UK. Good morning to you. And special good mornings to Calmness 55, better known as Sister T. And, we have Mr. T, but we have Sister T as well. And then the other ones who don't want to be said because they will be caught and they'll be chastised in the other channel or channels. Oh, you're a traitor. Well, whatever. Get over it. That's what I say. Get over it, man. Don't get none on you, and I guess that's how they don't get none on them. Yeah, good to see you. And Red Wagon, I know, was out there as well. He'd been working his booty off, trying to stay afloat like everybody else. Well, anyway, to start with, solar wind right now, 647 kilometers a second. That's pretty strong, stronger than normal. It's not like totally like mega strong or anything. See what happens is there. Good morning to you. We've had a C2 and an M1 for in the last 24. Hey, let me show you that, man. It's pretty far out. There we go. We have a steady little pulse of M's here. Here's almost an M, and then there's the M1, and then here's another one that just is a 982, and this one was a 99, 974. 952, somewhere in there. See what I'm saying? Boing, boing, boing. Yeah, but this one I believe is from another sunspot that's newly onto the disk, and it's coming in front of us. Let's go ahead and check out LASCO right now. All right, here we go. Here's the LASCO 2 close visual. You can see that little planet out there, right? You know which planet that is? Why don't we just check it out real quick while we got it doing it. So here's Earth. We're looking at this. Here's Merc, Venus, and yeah, Mars. Does Mars have any moons? Does it have any satellites? I don't know. But it looks like it right out there. Yeah. But anyway, let's push go, and we'll see how long it lasts here. Oh, there's a little slow mover. Oh, there's a good one there. Oh, and another one. Oh, that one finally let loose. Now, I don't know if these are on the front side or the back side of the sun, but we'll find out by looking at LASCO 3. Merc and Venus right there, and that other planet just back there. So that's Mars. There's a good little booger, and another one. This bottom one really just kind of let loose, didn't it? It probably just started. And we're looking at, maybe one of these, right? Let's go ahead and look at what NOAA has, NOAA's prediction status. You can see on the top is plasma, on the bottom is solar wind. Right now you can see the red area. That's why we're kicked up in solar wind right now. Today being the 15th. Here's the 15th, and they think it's down here. Well, guess what? They got it wrong, don't they? Yeah. Solar wind 647, right? And we've got a couple of flares at us. We've looked at LASCO. We've looked at where the planets are. If you're looking for Uranus, well, you don't have to look in the mirror. Just look over your shoulder there, and it's floating almost behind Jupiter. Well, it'll get further away. So easier for you to look if you're only looking back at Jupiter. With straight line, Jupiter, Earth, Merc, Venus, Mars. Yeah. Is something going to happen? Even Pluto's in this. Pluto a planet? Well, it was when I was a kid. But it's not anymore. Somebody de-striped it. Well, you got Waimea and Make, that they all just, found out about these things here recently too. There's another one between Mars and a Jupiter called Ceres. Yeah, and another one way out past Pluto called Eris. I mean, even Make's beyond Eris, and Waimea's beyond Pluto. So, hey, there's these other things out here floating around too. Can you imagine what's not on the map that's floating around? Yeah, if I showed you, you'd be kind of afraid. Yeah. Oh, do you want to take it? You want to take a trip to Mars? Well, shoot, howdy. There's a bunch of crap between us and Mars, and a bunch of crap between Mars and Jupiter. Something called the asteroid belt. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Stay away, Joe. Okay. Anyway, a C2 and an M1 flare, and the Oklahoma, you probably gaseous. Yeah. But anyway, looking at this, they got it wrong here right now. Right, we can look at solar wind right now. Here's a magnetopause, and it tells us about solar wind. I mean, the 500s. Dynamic pressure right now is low. BZ stays nominal between -5 and -5, even -10, or +10. Protons stay low, but 631. The wind is starting to kick up. And we can look at another way to look at these things. And the density, the proton density, you'll see the more white, the less protons per cubic centimeter. And those are energetic particles that pelt our planet and affect, I would say, the weather. Yeah, don't get none on you. No sharding here. But you see, the more blue, the more protons involved. And you can see our planet's kind of energy. This is generated by a computer and, checking all of the different doohickeys out there. You know what a doohickey is? Well, you got to go ask your Aunt Myrtle. Yep. But she might ask you to go get a switch, so be careful. Oh, that's Mom's job. Yeah. Well, anyway, here's the dynamic pressure. This is the pressure of those particles from the sun and the solar wind upon our planet. And you know what? It just isn't happening. Right? So if something's like, if you have two people pushing, you get their hands together, palm, and one's pushing on the other one's pushing back. What happens when one of you stops? The other one really pushes hard, right? So if the solar wind is really pushing, but there's nothing behind it, does it affect our planet? That's the question. It's like, hey, wait a minute. It just appears like nothing's really going on dynamically in our world here. Not so much protons per cubic centimeter, not so much particles that affect our magnetosphere. It just, rarely do we see that. Hey? Are you from Canada? No. Anyway, I'm not from Mexico either. But this is the velocity of the wind. And you watch, the wind is picked up. Well, there was no wind there, right? And all of a sudden, what happens? Starts to get a little bit more. See it start to bend that magnetopause there? And waves coming through. Ooh. Yep. Well, anyway, so the sun virtually, let's look at the ground magnetics, the last thing we'll talk about. Yeah, okay, here's the ground magnets for the whole entire planet, right? These are energetic particles that reach the surface and that are magnetized due to our magnetic core, right? You have a magnetic core too, yeah. Do you know the well, it's measured in hertz. Do you know what your hertz is? Yeah, my wife hurt me. No, I'm not talking about that kind of hertz. Do you know your energy level? The vibration of the planet? Do you know that? Yeah, if you do, put it in chat. If you know what I'm talking about. Oh, and send me a notice. I'm Barry Hutz. She Betty Hutz. Yep. Well, anyway, it just appears the sun is chilling right now. Is the sun chilling? Well, let's check it out. We do have a new sunspot coming around the corner here. Yeah, that one right there. That's going to get more energetic. It's a strong sunspot that will produce geomagnetic storms. Does it have a beta, gamma, delta magnetic field? No, but it right yet it's just coming into view, right? And the other stuff, it looks like it was happening from the back side of the sun, in my opinion. But hey, we'll find that out. Also, Elon Musk and them took a spaceship and went to the moon, not to the moon, to the International Space Station to rescue somebody who's pregnant from space. How'd they get pregnant when they've been up there? Yep. Ain't gonna say no more. Yeah. It's a medical emergency. Okay. Timmy just said he put up how electromagnetic pollution in buildings affects our well-being. Yeah. There's right in line with what you're saying there, Timmy, with your post. I appreciate you. Yeah, I think they've been doing a little bit of funny stuff up there in space. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of athletes now are not putting. There you go, 7.83 hertz. Thank you. Timmy did it again. Yeah. They did they're athletes. They're stopped putting things in their ears. Yeah. So if it's the first baby in space, does it mean, well, what kind of citizenship does it have? That's the big deal. You know that's going to happen. It's a Martian. Does it have those little metal antennas like my favorite Martian did? Yeah. And we have a pretty good sized corona hole. It's not huge, but it is good size. I don't think it's the one that's been traveling around the disk here for better part of a year or half a year anyway. But it's going to give us some solar wind. Yep. The KP is how we measure current space weather conditions, right? The planet K index is what we look at geomagnetic storms from the sun, right? And other entities, I would guess. It's really low. It's under 2, so it's like nothing. So I think I've established that the sun is just chill, right? It's just chill. We got a little bit of wind, but there's no dynamic pressure. The BZ stays in the nominal range between -10 and +10. That's kind of the middle. If you don't know what this is, how they measure the stuff from the sun here. And if I zoom on down here on this guy, you'll see it jumped down to -5, and then it's coming back up to 0. This to me tells me where on the disk, or actually where on the planet, that the solar activity is affecting more. So if it's like, way, if we went to go back here, you'll see it bounced way back down here. That's really nothing, on in this time period. See, it's nominal. It's right down the middle. Nothing to really be concerned with what's going on in the sun. Now, the prediction, you'll see. See if there's any explosions from the sun they got. Here's more plasma coming up. We're going to a plasma stream here on the 18th. That's about when the solar wind starts to pick up dramatically, up near 700. And, well, NOAA doesn't predict that those couple of blasts that we saw will affect the planet yet. Maybe they just haven't figured it out. Yeah, this is a predictive model that maybe hasn't been updated. So, yeah, not a lot to think about. And, when we look at this kind of stuff, we also got to look at what's going on weather-wise. Okay? Simple, and this is just, cold weather. Cold weather. I look at the dirty because that's the rain, and you can see the snow and you can see the sleet. We got a big high pressure over the west, and the east coast is got a big dip, right, in the jet stream, and that freezing gobbledygook is going into the east coast. A little bit of rain down the central part, and my buddy in the Dakotas, he looks like he had a little something. Yeah, coming out of Alaska, you can see that cold front. Wow, right in front of this one. Yep. And let's look at what's going on out west. Out west, and what's coming up in the next week or so? Well, big storm. Is he going to go up and over? The big cold air went dipping way down here toward Hawaii. Hawaii's got some cooler weather right now. Yeah. So the jet stream has got a big dip in it. It's going up and over. Generally speaking, these kind of dips will give us a low pressure, and then we'll get a lot of rain. But I'm not seeing anything right now. A lot of really, really up in the Bering Sea. I wouldn't want to be in the Bering Sea grabbing crabs. You can go down to the beach and sit on a toilet and get all the crabs you want. But hey, that's kind of different crab, right? That's why I never sat on a toilet. Anyway, public restrooms. Poor ladies, man. They've got to deal with so much. That's why they put that plastic, or I don't know, is it plastic, or what is it, like wax paper? I don't even know. It's flushable, so it can't be totally wax. Yeah. TP, man. Take up some toilet paper, put it on a seat before you have to sit down. Or some of you can learn how to squat. Anyway, that's... What am I telling you? How to go to the potty? I was in the southeast yesterday. Inappropriately cold, he says. Yeah. No kidding. I saw some snow levels. I couldn't tell if they were in the States, but they were pretty bad. So it looks like coming out of Canada, this dip right down into, the Carolinas will continue over the next, lots of wind, baby. Yeah, lots of wind. We'll see where this goes, but it looks like it's up and over and it's dipping down. So there's a big, big, yeah. We'll just let it be right there. Don't want to make somebody all weird out. Looking at the storm index across the U.S., up in the north, you got snow and in the Kentucky and Tennessee and Virginia and Ohio Valley, you got some snow. And a little rain down there in Florida, but not a whole lot, all right? So that's your weather, and that's your space weather. Let's go ahead and look at what's happening yesterday in the tremors. Did you say tremors? I was thinking tremors. Nope, good. Vancouver's still vibrating. Sure is, man. What's with the vibrations? What's with the vibrations? I don't even know how many of them. I don't even know how to tell. 208 vibrations as of yesterday. Start date. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, anyway, these are the peaks and valleys at the top of how many vibrations, lots of them, and then not so much. But down here, yep, Medford, right? Now, off the coast here, we have a subduction zone. If you don't know what that is, well, that's where the Pacific plate is being overridden by or it isn't the Pacific plate, it's another broken off or another plate, like the Pacific plate. The last chances for the Farallon plate, they call it. And let me see, USGS, here's a map, okay? This here, Caribbean Sea, that's a plate. This here is a plate, right? This is the Cocos plate. This is the Nazca plate. This is the Antarctic plate. This is the Pacific plate. This is the North American plate, right? So North America basically is moving west. The Pacific plate's moving northwest, and because of the convergence, that's why we have the San Andreas. And after the San Andreas, this is a plate right here too. It's an old plate that has since gone under North America because it's kind of like how this is way over here. It used to be way over here. And North America has run, or the North American plate has run right over this thing. Here's remnants here, I think, of the Caribbean part of it, also down here. So it started to overrun it longer down here in the Scotia Sea, in the Drake Passage, all that. That's just like what's happened here. And then it breaks off. And what's left of this plate, like the Pacific plate, is up in here. It's already gone on underneath up here. The Kula plate went under there, and now the Farallon plate, the last remnants of it. And, well, what are the effects of it? Well, this is what we look at. All these mountains, here's satellite, right? All these mountains were created by this, or actually this, and the one that's already gone, underneath this. That's how the mountains are made, right? All the way down the western side. It's why there's no mountains on this side, because this is overriding this. Yeah, meaning there's a subduction zone. One plate going underneath another. And as a result, we get these vibrations. Vibrations up in here and vibrations up in here. Because, the angle and the shape of this and what's going on underneath, this is the actual contact line where this is plate riding up and this is riding underneath, right? So if there was an island out here in 10 million years, this would scrape the island off and it would be added to North America. And hence, that's happened time and time and time again. And interesting to say, it's what a lot's happening down here, right? Yeah, the uplift of Japan diving underneath, the Pacific diving underneath Japan, the uplift, the erosion that's taken place, right? That's why we get such huge earthquakes. Now, you see a couple of earthquakes here in Japan. Well, there's a plate boundary that breaks right through the center of Japan. Yeah, this is North America. This is the Philippine plate, and this is Eurasia. And Japan is split right down the middle, and that's where you get little volcanoes like that, Mount Fuji, right? Generally speaking, when there's subduction zone or a split like that, there's plenty of volcanoes. So these earthquakes here, a 5.1 and a 4.7 happened because this plate and this plate are banging each other, sliding back and forth. This earthquake here is due to what's going on, sliding underneath, like this one, sliding underneath, like this one, sliding underneath, right? That's what creates these earthquakes. Then up here in Alaska, that's the same thing. The direction of the Pacific plate, right, is this. It used to be this. So if you take this and bring it back in this direction, the same direction, this line. Take it back and back, and then you run it back 40 million years. It started right there, right? And as the plate was going this way, all of a sudden it turned and started going that way. And that's the whole change of what's going on here in the west and the east. Something happened back 45 to 55 million years ago, and that's why there's the imperial chain and the Hawaiian chain. So all of these kind of changes, there's evidences of how the plates move, and that's where we get a lot of these earthquakes. Well, then why do we have earthquakes out in the middle? Well, this one here, in Hope, Mexico, New Mexico, that is, out here in the middle. Well, look at all these square things, all right? If I put you on GE, and we looked at the same kind of area, right? Go here to, all right? Here's New Mexico right here. See, there's a, you remember that? Yeah, you've heard of that? Okay, let me show you where that is. Right there, eh? Eh? No, that's it right there. There's some other. All this is salt, right? Yeah. So, to the left, we can actually find exactly the spot where you want to see. So why don't I just do that for you? So, why are these earthquakes happening right here, near Carlsbad, New Mexico? Gotta wonder. It's out in the middle of the plate. It's not on a plate boundary. Why is it down here? Well, I don't see a whole lot what's going on. Why is this area all of a sudden got earthquakes? Oh, what's that? Oh boy, what's this? Huh. Yeah. So, am I saying that, this one here, natural gas, right? Am I saying they're drilling down there and making earthquakes? Yeah, I am. Dead well. This one doesn't look too dead. It's still got a well. Yeah. Mankind creates earthquakes. Digging into the crust. Remember, the crust is only so thick. Let's say 50 kilometers thick. And we're messing around in the top third of it. And it's kind of like, you develop a callus because it keeps getting rubbed, or it keeps getting dry, or it keeps getting cooler, because the crust, what we all live on in the dirt, is cooler than what's down underneath, right? Because it's down there, molten lava is down below, right? Molten magma down below, and then it cools and it gets crusty, and then it gets really dried out, and then there's cracks, and then we dig in them cracks, and we basically make it worse. There's no salve for it, but when it rains, the water gets down in there and starts shifting things around. Why? Because it gets loose again, and then whoa, yeah, we get a little earthquakes down in the middle of the states. So there's a little bit of a minor swarm. If I did the all multiple. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 earthquakes right in this region. You can see this is an area where they've perforated the crust, up to 15 miles deep, more than likely 5 to 3 miles deep, and they're having more down here because it continues, right? And then also to the west, you can see all the dotted squares. Then as we go into the Permian Basin of Texas, you can see, yeah, lots and lots and lots of it. And there's a couple little tiny earthquakes out here. And you can see more of them. This is the Permian Basin. That's where we get a lot of our oil. Yeah, yep. So what happens when the oil runs out? Well, we'll see. It's going to take some time. Also here in the west, you can see the, the earthquakes of the last probably 15 hours. A little bit of a swarm down here yeah, in Milo land, right? In Waterman's Corner. Wonder why that's happening. Can we see anything down here? Farms. Farms. Lots of farms. Well, what's interesting also, they dig into the dirt, and this is a volcano right here. Yeah, it's a different volcano. I think it's called a shield volcano, where it's not a stratigraphic, where it goes like a big upside down V, way up in the sky. But this is kind of like a molehill, and yet there's still magma underneath there. And so the heat, they'll drill into it, and what they'll do, like over here in Mexico, they do it here too. They pump steam right here. They pump water into the ground, create steam, and through another hole, the steam rises up, and as it does, it turns the turbines, just like an engine, and creates electricity. Why there's no earthquakes reported down here? Well, we'd probably have to go into Mexico's site here, because USGS doesn't report them. Lots of earthquakes in the south, but nothing to report up here. Why aren't they getting earthquakes, and why aren't we only getting earthquakes? Gotta ask that question. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. I'm all over the place. Just trying to show you why earthquakes are happening where they're happening. Up in San Jose, we had a couple little earthquakes up in here. A 3.1 and a little less than 1. Also, a 2.2, and then way over here, Pacifica. Pacifica gets earthquakes because that's the San Andreas moving right there. Now, these earthquakes here. This is a volcano called Clear Lake Volcano. And the mountain is right here. This is the whole volcano. They drill into the volcano right here. And then I can't even zoom in anymore. We used to be able to zoom in really well. Maybe they're, stopping us from zooming in pretty good. But I think I can do it on GE, just not on USGS. Google Earth, that is, eh? Yeah, zooming in. Yeah. It takes up a lot more energy for them. So right out here. And we see that little booger right there. It's 3824, 3882, and 12278. Dun 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 dun. 3284. And what was it? 12278. Maybe both are. Maybe I got that negative wrong here. No, definitely don't got it there. All right, so erase that negative sign. One of the negative signs is negative. I haven't figured it out yet. It wants to go, wait, 3284, right? 3824. Okay, that's my problem. 38. I'm a little bit dyslexia. 38.24. There we go. I'm a little bit off here. 38.82. 38.82. And 122.78. There we are. So we're close. See these turbines? Yeah, they pump. You can see all the pipes, right? Right, all that steam, all that heat comes into the machine and it turns these turbines, and it creates electricity for Thafathithko. There's another one. Right, you can see the steam coming out of that. And it's probably kind of stinky too, because what they do, see, here's a electrical sub panel, and there are lots of them. It's one of the largest ones in North America. What happened is they take the poo-poo from this area, the whole entire area. They treat it, take the solid waste out, and take the water and all that kind of liquid waste, and then they pump it down in the ground, and the earth goes, ooh, and this geothermal comes up. And I don't know if they filter it or not, but yeah, that's what happens down in Mexico too, down here. And when we were looking down in Mexico, right down here, you can see the turbines, right? So Mexico's doing it, and then up here north of the border where the volcano is, Red Island volcano right there, right? Yeah, it's a volcano. Salton Sea Butts, right? And it's a volcano. I didn't know they named it. That's why I put it in there. Red Island volcano. And Salton Butts. Let me see. Here's Calipatria or Patria. Yeah, we get a lot of earthquakes there. But they do the same thing. They're turbines. I don't know where exactly the turbines are. Mullet Island. You need a mullet. Right. Power station right here. Here's the turbine. See this? So yeah, they're pumping it into the volcano, creating the stuff, and then creating electricity. That's how we create electricity. It isn't just from dams, by the Colorado River, right? We have these, let me see here, where are we at? That's the Rio Grande. Salt River, a little bit north. Over here, yeah, right there. Right? Hoover Dam. Yeah, electricity being created by Hoover Dam, turning the turbines down in there. That's another way that we create electricity as well. So it isn't just volcanoes that we pump poop in, or not feces, but remnants of it, and then create electricity. And there's other kind of electricity we create by coal plants, generating electricity. There is there used to be one. What happening here? That's Vegas. There used to be one down here. What is it all blurred out? They don't want us to see. Oh, who are they? Yeah. 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 Well, anyway, we'll just stay there. Let them figure that out. Yeah, there used to be one well, there used to be a coal plant right along the shore here too. Here's Havasu Palms, Mojave Valley, Lake Mojave. But anyway, creating electricity. So a lot of these earthquakes up here are created by pumping into the ground, sideways and forwards, right? Pumping a poop into the ground, making electricity, right? And which we showed you, all the pipes and the like in the area. So you can learn more about it if you like. Try to see what that turbine is again. There we go. Right here, all these pipes making the turbines. It's also, they pump into, you've heard of Mammoth, right? Mammoth is over here. They do it right into the main volcano here in, or there in Cali. I'm not in Cali no more. It's so hard to say that. And they do it right down here. Yeah. Right here. Funny how there's colors coming out of this, huh? Oh. Whoa. Different kind of gases. Big ones in here. Make a lot of electricity. And there's other ways to make electricity too. In the Mojave, you'll see, where's 10? Is that 10? Yeah, that's 10. These things. Acres and acres and hecta-acres of solar panels. If it's out in the desert, and why not, right? Big solar panels, but a lot of ways we create electricity. I don't think the solar panels create earthquakes, but I do think that kicking drilling in the ground and putting poop in there and making the earth gaseous and blowing up steam. Yeah, well, there you have it. Right next to one. Right there. Yeah, so that's happening. And we do have it up here by Willits, again, another 2. The Macamba fault has been pretty activated north of San Francisco. And if I did this, you'll see documented big faults in northern Cal. Here's the San Andreas. All right, here's the Calaveras. Here's the Hayward fault. You've heard of all these in the San Andreas. All these other faults, branches off of the Pacific and North America, smacking each other, creating all these fault systems as what? Strike slips, because this is moving that way, this is moving that way, and they're grinding. Thus, all of Los Angeles is a convergence, and it's not good because it builds up a hell of a lot more tension than up here where it just slides by and grinds upon itself. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. So up here, it's the same thing within the tremor map. The plates grinding on themselves, man-made earthquakes, and natural earthquakes. So vibrations of the plate driving underneath one plate, creating the others, where weaknesses in the plate will vibrate as they slide over the top of each other. Remember, these things are like huge, right? It'll take you 8 hours, 10 hours to drive from here up to there. And that whole area is sliding underneath. Yeah, radical, right? Yeah, it's pretty radical. Radical to me. But anyway, do we have any drunk Chinamen out there? Yeah? Out there driving the U-boats? It's not a me boat, it's a U-boat. No, I don't see any over here and over here. They're not too concerned about it because the United States is taking the, I think it's the Abraham Lincoln, and driving it up over to here so we can tell Iran stop screwing around, or else we'll bomb you again and kill you. But China's pretty happy that we're going there, but they're not too happy that what we're doing, because China gets, 80% of Iranian oil for China, and that's not good. How did World War II start? You gotta wonder. What pissed the Japanese off? Was it all about oil? Could be. Yeah. And I don't see any vibrations out here in any Ruskies. Usually the Ruskies are out here. There's some being under the sea where the submarines are. That's what I call them, U-boats, sea-boat, U-boat, my boat. If you remember, we had and the captain lost his job, by the way. We had a boomer that ran into something, quite possibly another submarine. It said he ran into the ground, but I don't buy it. I think we took out a Chinese submarine and we smashed it, crashed right into it. It took off the nose of the ship, the sub, and we drove it all the way back to San Diego, and then we traversed it all the way back over here to Norfolk. So it's sitting out here in Norfolk. And yes, it's a boomer. 24 nuclear sub missiles, nuclear rockets on there that with MIRVs and all that. They can bomb a hell of a lot of places and bomb you into submission is what they can do. And then irradiate so much that nobody can live there ever again. Kind of like Chernobyl. But anyway, the Russians are on this side, generally speaking. And if you remember not too long ago, earlier this year, when the Ford was up in here, that they were chasing a sub and they lost it, and then it came up over here off of Lisbon and then had to make its way all the way back because they didn't want it going into the Mediterranean. Yeah. That sub had a reactor problem. Yeah, because somebody did something to it. Yep. And I think it limped all the way back around to Russia. Submarine warfare is real. It's quiet until somebody gets hurt. So when the Ruskies over here and the Chinese are over there, and there's a reason why we want to protect Greenland and take Greenland, because the Ruskies are there and the Chinese are up there. Did you know China has activity up in the far north? Huh? Yeah. Our base is like right here. But we have a base up in Greenland. But we should have Greenland as part of our own. Why? We're going to have Canada. Why not? Canucks is like, what? I think we should kick Carney out and make all of Canada, divide it up into 6 states and say, or 7 states. Wait, we're at 51 now. Why don't we just cut it up into 9 states and say, okay, you're all part of the United States of Canada, right? You're autonomous. And no more does the Brits need to control you and Europe need to control you. But you're in the Western Hemisphere, and we'll let you be you. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. Maybe Mexico too, Might as well. Venezuela's on board. Yeah. Colombia's going, whoa, Wiggy. Yeah. And, China's already in Chile, so we got to worry about that, in Peru. Argentina, although I think is moseying our way, meaning in the western of the Western Hemisphere, right? The Americas. We don't need no stinking China. You stay over there, Chinamen. And Ruskies, you stay over there. It's all about this and that, right? And what's that got to do with earthquakes? Well, you dig it in the ground because of what? It's special metals, special tools, special things, oil. It's all about what they can get. How can't we all just get along? Yeah. Old Rodney, no, not Dangerfield, but Danger Will Robson, Danger. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the volcano news today. According to Volcano Discovery, what made the news? Santa Guido, Fuego, Popo, Mi Rapi, Simiru, Ibu, Docono, Ma Rapi. There's Mi Rapi and there's Ma Rapi. What about you, Rapi? Nah, I don't rap. I'll leave that to Tom McDonald, who had a farm. Hey, close. Sangay volcano there in Ecuador, which is in South America, by the way. 20,000 feet out of 17 and change. And let's see what else. Little Tolo steps up while Sangay eases amid steady Indonesian eruptions. Sangay is... What's Little Tolo got to do with Sangay? Indonesia dominated today's activity with multiple eruptions holding a mid-level alerts and notable uptick in Little Tolo. Activity at Ecuador Sangay decreased with Popo. Now they're doing an overview. What a putz. Yeah. Somebody just wanted to write. So Indonesia's picked up. Okay, we'll talk about that. Dakono, that's over there in Halmahera. Well, let's just give you a map. How's that? Open up GE again. How many times you gonna open it up, son? Well, I'm gonna open it up and just open it up. How's that? Here we're talking about down. Hey. Series of volcanoes down here. Interesting. Reventador, way out here, right? Yeah, that's a volcano behind a volcanic arc. And then there's another one down here. Sangay. These are in the country of Ecuador. This is Colombia. Nevada del Ruiz is up here. And then Puris, which has also been active. Where's Paris? Well, this river, that's I'm in the wrong country. Here's Puris, or Pures, or Purac, I call it Puris. I don't know why. Here's Nevada del Ruiz, here's Puris, okay? So these two volcanoes have been in the news. Then we have Reventador and Sangay in the news. So primarily on the back side of the mountain ranges, right? Or Nevada del Ruiz is in the middle. This is a volcanic arc here, and there's also a mountain range building up here in a little Occidental that kind of goes out and about, and there's more volcanoes. There's more than this. I just put the ones that we talk about quite often. Then in Central America, we have Poas volcano has been active. Rincon de la Vieja, grandmother's volcano, and Santiago has been busy. Tolica has been busy right here. San Cristobal right there. These are the ones that have been, popping off the last couple of years, right? Then here's Guatemala. What's interesting is Guatemala, Pacaya volcano right here, erupted and magma came down and ruined some farms and stuff. It was slow moving stuff. Fuego is a constant every 20-minute explosion out of fuego. You can find that up on YouTube and watch the video. I think most people sit here and watch that sucker. Oh, look, you can see it. Boof, right? Yeah. And some people do climb up that and then, like, you want to die? You know? Then over here, and you can see Guatemala City right there. And then up here, Santa Maria, Santa Guido, right? This complex exploded early 1900s, and the result is Santa Guido is building as a result of Santa Maria blowing its top at a VEI 3, I think. It may be in a VEI 4, back around like 1912 or 1915, somewhere in there. Just completely came apart. And so volcanoes are, explosive, to say the least. And then when we go back here, go back to reset to north, zoom in over here to a couple of volcanoes been active here. We have Canloan in here in the Philippines. That's active. Also, where is it? I thought it was right here. I could be wrong. Right over here? No. Mayon volcano. Yeah. So right here and right here, both of these volcanoes have reached the news because they're super active right now. Also, Taal volcano has been erupting, steaming and erupting in the last couple of years. So bang, bang, and bang. Now, we've had a subduction zone over here, lots and lots of earthquakes, and Taal acts up. This is a major subduction zone, and the Pacific plate diving underneath, lifting up the Philippines. Actually, it's the Philippine plate diving underneath, lifting up, and Mayon and Canloan both are, exploding. And here's the Molucca Sea. Here's the Celeb Sea. So we have Awu volcano been active, Mount Raung, Karangatang, and one of these other ones. Which one was it? Malawi or Impong? I'm not sure which one was active here. But this waterway through here, the Molucca Sea, we have Dukono and Ibu, Gamalama Ding Dong. All of these have been, these two especially, been erupting a lot. And they're like 25 miles apart. So very, very busy. And this is the what we call the maritime continent, because it's not really a continent, but it's all together and it's squished and it's all and put together, and lots of earthquakes. And here's Taiwan, and here's Japan, like I already showed you. Fuji, and why Fuji's not on here? Oh, maybe I have to refresh. But yeah, there it is. Yeah. And then we have the other seamounts out here. See, they all disappeared again. Google Earth having all kinds of problems today. Yeah, out here. Right? The Marianas and Guam right here. And so this activity, working its way through here, can get very big earthquakes. An 8 in 1889 happened right there in between the Karangatang and Awu, Dukono and all of that. You can see there's more volcanoes. Then as we move on up, we look for the seahorse. Here's Bali, here's Semeru, and Java. That one's the largest volcano in Indonesia that's erupting at the moment. There is a Merapi right here, right? And if we move on, here's Tambora. That you remember that exploded in the before. And we got, here's the Seahorse, right? Little Toe B and Little Toe Low, both of these are erupting. And that's what was the article was saying, that these two here are erupting a lot more substantially than what was happening over there in Ecuador. As the Eastern Pacific, come on, it's just having all kinds of problems. What they're saying is the Eastern Pacific, which is the Americas, is decreasing, and the Western Pacific is increasing in activity. And to visualize that, we just zoom out and look at all this earthquake activity. All right, here's the maritime continent, here's Japan, here's Kamchatka, Alaska, and here's the West or East. We're not banging hard, but over here sure the hell is. But as like everything else, you make sure you see this. Hey. What was I going to say? You have a plate. You push down on this side, or you push up on this side. The wave will respond conversely. Just like, you know, if you pushed it this way or this way, the wave will respond accordingly. Right? So the peaks and valleys of the plate moving and jostling. There are parts of the Pacific plate that scientists are now saying are beginning to split. That the Western and the Eastern will be separate. Read an article on that. And it's not very big right now, but eventually that may transpire. And it's somewhere out here in this region. Interesting. But again, loads of earthquakes here, building up, pushing activity over this way. And you'll see, we'll talk about all these earthquakes here in a 5.0 in Dunhuang, China, and then Myanmar 4.9, and over here in Israel, an interesting 4.2 on a fault that we've been watching. We don't know why it hasn't broke, but it's there. And well, why do I think it's got activity? Well, up here we had a couple of big sevens, right? We had a 7 over here, right here by Izmir. We've got activity right here, right? You know what this is right here, right? That's a volcano. And yes, there's more activity there. Not on the USGS. You have to go to the Greeks to find that mess out. So, yeah. But we're seeing a lot of activity on the western side of the Pacific, where the 8.8s happened, moving on down to the central part of the Kurils, and then into Hokkaido, Japan, and then Honshu, out here in the middle, Isuzu Islands, there's a little arc that's building up here too. Then we have down here by Halamarahara, right? Tobelo, right? But I call it Halamarahara right here. There's Tobelo right there. But if I went like this in terrain, right? That's Halamarahara. Here's the Molucca Sea. So you got activity there. Then down here, here's where Tolo and Tobi are. Both of these volcanoes erupting. We don't have any eruption. We have some kind of making noise, but not a lot. And then we have Simeru right over here making noise. So Dakono and Ibu both saying hello. Boom, 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 boom. Little Tobi and little Tolo erupting. Repi, January 14. The alert level remained at level 2. It's not a whole lot, but it's up. Marapi is up here by Padang. Okay. It's Simeru down here in Java. This is Sumatra. That's Java. Krakatau's right here in the middle. Yeah. This is a geology report too, as well as a geography report as well as a geology report. Hey, yeah. Hey, man, there's a G. You're the G man. Anyway, over here in Fiji area, we've got a 4.5 at 535 depth, looking upwards of near 5 at 1,000 miles around, shallower. If it stays deep, then it will drop down from a 5 down to maybe 4.7. Over here in here's a 4.9 that Vanuatu happened, 114.16. Yep, there's the report right there. That is the result. Bang, 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 boom. 4.9. Stayed relatively 110 depth, but bang, it hit. Or filled in, actually. This one hit and then the pressure moving through. Then up here in Papua New Guinea, a 4.2. It just so happens that that's right by a couple of volcanoes. Yeah, right? That's a volcano right there. Yeah, and there's another one. And another one. We've had a couple of big earthquakes right here in Papua New Guinea as well, big 7s, and west of the Bismarck Sea. And then, so some activity working its way through because of the volcanoes and the movement thereof. What is going on? Who's texting me? Mm-hmm. Oh. Just people. Okay, so we talked a little bit about St. Gay, Little Tolo, Ibu and Dakono, Marapi we talked about, Mirapi. Reported the eruption continued in Mirapi. Alert level, we'll just go ahead and check it out. Is still level 3 of a 4. And Mirapi, close. Central Java. So they're calling it Mirapis up in here. All right. That's good to know because there's they got a lot of Mirapis, Mu-Rapis, 2-Rapis, 3-Rapis. Anyway, they rap a lot. And Pure East volcano there in Colombia, I showed you about that one. Also, Waimea crater caldera, it has a earthquake swarm, and it had its 30th or 40th explosion day before yesterday, and it was erupting pretty big. Made the news, and I had it on here where y'all can see, you know, watching the volcano erupt, which is pretty cool. Um, um, Indonesia is on alert. Volcanoes escalate without warning. Hey, that's what's happening, right? Fuego is okay. Kilauea, episode 40th. 40 was on January 12th, so 3 days ago it was erupting pretty good. And yeah, I don't know, these guys are for real here, but Marapi, Mount Semeru, both have made a mess of Indonesia. And we saw the pyroclastic flows, which is a molten gas, molten rock, steam, ash rolling down the face of the mountain at 80 miles an hour and going about 5 or 6 miles down the face and burning everything in its wake. And so it's not good to be at the base of a volcano. But I think, currency Indonesia is even is active. Let's open up that article here. It's at a level 2 of 4. So currencies on Indonesia and Sumatra. It's a 12,000 foot stratovolcano. So it made the news too. But they can't control it, and that's the thing. That's why they're reporting these things. Lots of activity in Indonesia. Not so much in the Americas right now. Okay? So I think we've talked a little bit about that. I'm still watching to see if Iran's going to shoot missiles over into Israel. That's what I'm watching here. Have this always on. And because we have earthquakes in Earth, but there's earthquakes politically going on as well. And so there you have it. It's 9:22 here in the West. Wow, it took me an hour and 22. Wow. Well, I hope I gave you enough information, what's happening around your world, that you would be aware what's happening. And although I didn't hit every earthquake that's going on, there's just too many damn earthquakes. The central mid-Atlantic had a 5, and also a 5 near Easter Island that took place today. So both sides of South America are banging. We'll wait to see what happens across the U.S. Right now, it appears to me that the smaller earthquakes are in Southern California right now. And the San Felipe crack, if you haven't been here long enough to know what that is, I'll show you. San Felipe, Mexico was right down here, and which goes all the way to TJ in through Ensenada and hits the Rose Canyon fault that goes all the way into Los Angeles. The Elsinore fault got a quake on it in Murrieta. Also, the transition from the Elsinore to the San Jacinto fault has a couple of quakes on it, and you can see the San Jacinto very, very busy, more so than the San Andreas. But down here, where the San Andreas and the San Jacinto faults, and you may not be able to see those. There you go. If I zoom back out, the San Jacinto fault system, the Elsinore fault system, the San Andreas fault system, the Imperial fault, and Laguna Salada, which is the Elsinore that goes into Mexico. All of these faults down here, we have a swarm. And these are small earthquakes, but they're telling us something down there in El Centro. I think the last big earthquake was in El Centro was in the 50s. And a sizable, damaging earthquake. And it quite possibly is telling us that the activity is migrating north. And if we looked into Mexico, which, you know, USGS doesn't show them all, you can see these orange ones are 4 and above down here in Oaxaca. But if they're not 4.5 and up, USGS doesn't care. But Acapulco's still swarming, and all these from Chiapas to Oaxaca to Guerrero, right? And then we have a little bit of activity in, you know, in this state here where Puerto Vallarta is, and Colima right here, and this is what the hell is it called again? Jalisco. Okay, so from Jalisco down here, we can see that the chicken leg, or what I consider, it looks like a chicken leg, you know, with a thigh added, moving across. You can see earthquakes moving straight across the bottom of it, and all this will just twist and turn back and forth. But all this is moving in a northwest, the same as the Pacific, jamming up into southern Cal, creating the compressional components here of the fault systems, and the strike slips and all of those into southern Cal, and that's the danger zone. But not to exclude what's happening up here in San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, that area. We're watching down here because, generally speaking, it moves north. It can move from the Atlantic all the way across the states and create California earthquakes, but generally speaking, we see it come out of this region of the world and migrate north. So that's why I look at Mexico quite often and very hard, because I've seen the patterns persist out of, you know, Central America, the Caribbean, migrating south, also from Peru, and migrating north. We've seen those as well. So not to say that's all how they happen, but it's just the direction of the plates and wherever the slip happens. So you're up to date on everything. I want you to have a good day, and I've got to go do some personal things today. And love you all, and remember, don't get none on you. And I'm Joe Slick, and I'm out.
Well, howdy there, friends. Let me introduce. I'm Joe Slick. Yeah, I'm here to produce. Citizen journalist, I'm out on the scene 24/7. I'm living the dream. Got my camera rolling, ready for the scoop. With my trusty crew, we're a wild bunch of troops. From dawn till dusk, we'll uncover it all, rattling the truth in this media brawl. Come take a journey with me. Come ride on my train. We'll dive into the long and winding lane. Events and phenomena we're here to share. Joe Slick and the crew are going everywhere. Morning reports at 8 will break down the news. In Arizona time, we'll light up bring you the light. Unveiling the shadows, we'll put them in sight. Wednesdays and Saturdays, the rabbit holes live at 7 p.m. where the truth will thrive. Digging deep, uncovering the lies, sifting through the chaos, we're reaching for the skies. So tune in, friends, don't you ever miss. Joe Slick's got the stories that you shouldn't dismiss. Come take a journey with me, come ride on my train. We'll dive into the long and winding lane. Events and phenomena we're here to share. Joe Slick and the crew, we're going everywhere. The weekly wrap-up, Fridays at 5. Catch all the highlights, feel the vibe. So grab a front row seat, let's unravel the tale. With passion and grit, we'll never fail. We're on this mission, yeah, we're gonna shine. Join the journey, my friends, it's about that time. Remember what I say, let it stick in your head. Don't get known on you, just words that we